Hey, what's up, everyone? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. So we got the Pocket Change Market Report for the weekend edition, November 16, 2026. At least we're getting this out on Sunday and not Monday like the last couple of them. So that was kind of the goal here. And then eventually we'll get back to our normal scheduled Saturday release as intended. It's just been overly busy lately. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. For one of the favorites here on Blue Ridge Silverhound's channel. Wait, it's kind of like speaking in third person here. But anyways, I'm gonna tell you this right now. With all the news of the Lincoln Cent going away, which is pretty much a conclusion at this point, that is the fact. Now we're seeing unbelievable movements in the market for individual Lincoln Cents, varieties, errors, key dates, and you name it. It's kind of crazy just seeing this movement, not thinking that it was going to happen immediately. But yeah, things are starting to get pretty crazy and expensive. And I hope you guys are ready for some sort of ride, whether you're a seller or you're now just getting into collecting coins. US coins specifically, you might have a little bit of a challenge on your hands, if you don't have enough money to get into it. But we're going to take a look here at the last day or so of eBay activity, find out what has been hot, what's been not. There hasn't been a lot of knots lately. We're here in the middle of the holidays. It's the busiest time of the year. And folks are wrapping up their coins and sending that on back to the bank, which could end up being a nice little honey hole for anyone heading to the bank to grab rolls. The customer bank rolls is a untapped opportunity here for all aspects. All right, so before we jump in, quick little shout out to channel sponsor Whatnot. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We've been having a lot of fun selling just amazing original bank wrapped Lincoln Cent rolls. That has come to an end, unfortunately, for now. And we have one more show before the end of November, and that is this coming Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out before we give it a little bit of a break for about 2 weeks. We'll be back first week of December after Thanksgiving holiday has finally come and passed. And I personally invite you guys to take part in the heat of the holiday celebration. Yeah, we're going to have some really nice coins to sell and lots of great giveaways. We are also going to be doing and revisiting, bringing back the Cherry Pickers Guide giveaway for the month of December. So stay tuned for that. Lots of fun. And if you're into varieties and hunting, those type of coins, a Cherry Pickers Guide, if you don't own one yet, is kind of a necessity, and it will be a great addition to any coin collector's numismatic library. All right. We are going to dive right in. Starting out first and foremost with a piece of currency here, $19.99 dollar bill coming up here. So this one right here, a little bit older, not too bad. It's a couple decades old, but, rest assured, this is something maybe you could still find out there if you go through enough physical cash. That seems to be the talk there lately with the Lincoln Cent going away. People are speculating, and the rumor mill is churning, that this is a kind of a jab to the turn of just digital-based society of payments and all that. I don't know. It's going to take a little bit of a while for that to convert over. People still love handling physical cash, myself included. So you might be able to find something like this on there. Now, the note looks relatively normal on the front, but when we flip it over, wow, that reverse print is misaligned. There's no registration to the front and the printing of that note. The back all shifted to the right. It's not a miscut because the front of the note is perfectly centered, but we have a shift in the sheet during the time when the reverse was printed. And things kind of went awry here. So nice little catch here. Obviously, there's no right margin because it was cut off. This one right here is selling for $85.15. And just to let you guys know, there's a lot of value in these misaligned print kind of notes. And they show up. They show up when you least expect them. So make sure you're looking at every single note. You're looking at the front. You're looking at the reverse. You're looking at all of the print processes. The first print, second print, third print, and just making sure that everything is lining up. But if not, you have something pretty valuable on your hands. Next one here, 1935E, $1 silver certificate with a fold over error. So this is a corner fold of that sheet was folded over. It was printed and then cut, and it stayed folded on that corner. And there you go. That is kind of a byproduct of what happens, and it happens too. You can still find these on much newer notes too, like newer colorized $100 bills. These have shown up on there. Some nice crazy fold over errors. This one right here, pretty nice one, ended up selling for $130.99 with 31 bids. One of my favorites, we did talk about this coin on the previous Pocket Change Market Report. In case you missed it, this is the 1946 Walking Liberty half dollar. A variety that, no doubt about it, you should be looking for 100% of the time if you are a stacker of the good old 90% silver and you have a lot of half dollars of all types. This one right here, ladies and gentlemen, flip over the coin, look at the reverse, so that way you're not overlooking the popular doubled die reverse. It is on the 1946 Philadelphia Struck Walking Liberty half dollar. You can see the doubling without getting too close here. It looks like you're watching a 3D movie without actually using 3D glasses. That's how abnormal this looks. But you can see the doubling on all the feathers on the back there. And it's naked eye visible too. This is a very strong, very dramatic doubled die. This one is also FS 801 of great Cherry Picker's Guide variety. It's also recognized in the Red Book Price Guide as well. Now, that one that we talked about, I believe on Wednesday, was a much nicer coin. That one ended up selling for just under $200. It was about, close to being a mint state coin. This one right here, far from that. We're probably talking maybe a fine 12 in grade. This one, however, ended up selling for $324.95. Kind of a crazy comparison here, because the AU nice one that we saw a couple days ago, again, sold for right under $200, but it was a buy now. And so was this one here too. So someone really loved this variety. It's really nice, but is this one in this grade worth that kind of money? Probably not. Probably not. I would say if we maybe switched the two prices between the last one that sold and this one, that might be a little bit better. But I have seen ones that are this low a grade sell for about $100 before. So again, when it comes to these high profile varieties, grade still means something here. All right, the nicer the grade of a specific variety, the more that the coin is going to be worth. That's just numismatics 101, I guess you could say. One of the key elements to how we evaluate certain coins is going to be really in the condition of them. So that even goes for extremely rare varieties like this 1946 DDR. More paper money. Man, we're 3 for 4 in paper money through the first 4 listings here. 1985 dollar bill. It's actually pretty neat. This one right here, keep in mind, 1985, that series date. There's a lot to look for this particular series. This one right here, maybe you guys have never heard of, nor have you ever have seen one, but it involves the plate number on the reverse. Now, if you look at this one, you see where it says the number 1, or the word 1 on the right smack dab in the middle. If you look just to the bottom left of the O right there, it has a plate number of 129. This is what they call the notorious backplate number 129 error. And the reason why that this is so is because that plate number is supposed to be on the bottom right corner of that white area. It's actually supposed to be on the bottom right corner of where the E is in 1. All right, and if you look at any other dollar bill, you'll see that. So this one, they inadvertently put the plate number on the bottom left side of the center design there. And it's the only plate number where you will find that plate number kind of misarrangement on there. So this one is a great one to be on the lookout for. Now, granted, a lot of these are disappearing out of circulation because the note is like 40 years old as of this year. So there's not too many of them to kind of, search through. Unless you got lucky and someone did save a bunch of dollar bills in 1985 or 1986, then otherwise this would be just one to be on the lookout for, maybe in dealer stock or inventory. They'll generally overlook something like this because it's a very obscure error and very, very few people know about it, but, the die-hard currency collectors are very aware of the 129 backplate error. This one, by the way, is selling for $158.94. A lot more money than I think you guys realize here. The note is crispy uncirculated, by the way. There is that. Boy, it's been a while since I've seen this one. 1958D, Cud die break, right next to the word trust. Right there about 3 o'clock on the front of the coin. I haven't seen this one in quite a while. It's a nice, little Cud die break. A piece of the die just through wear and tear had broken and fallen off. And now you have an empty cavity on the die, so when it's striking up all the coins, so long as the same die is being used, it's going to produce a raised kind of metal blob, right, that goes from the edge of the coin and into the design of the coin. This one right here, by the way, is selling for $35, which is pretty good. It's very fair and very much consistent to what the pricing has been on Cud die breaks, especially of this size. Here's another one here. Again, the good old Twin Peaks Cud right on the top of Jefferson's head there. 1983p. This is actually a very common one. Of course, if you're not hunting nickels, you wouldn't know it exists because avid roll hunter seekers of nickels have probably found one or two of these in their searches. So another nice Cud die break. This one, by the way, realizing a sale of $59 on eBay here in the last day. Here's a nice later dated dollar bill, 2006 series this time around, with a grossly misaligned overprint. You can see the serial numbers and the district seals and all that stuff all shifted to the left. This is what they call the third print process. So this is what they print over the top of the base design of the front of the note. And it's quite dramatic when it's that far shifted over, whether it's to the left, to the right, up, down, left, right, you name it. I've seen all types. So this one right here sold for $66.60. It looks like a best offer was accepted. Pretty good deal here. I've seen quite a few of these sell in excess of $100. This one is quite dramatic enough, and it's on a newer issue, which we don't see too much of. That might gain a little bit more interest, and it's probably why it sold as quickly as it did. There's a little bit of a image of the reverse, just showing a little bit of circulation wear here. This is far from the perfect note, but outside of that, it is a good collector grade quality piece. Nice little early obsolete one right here, 1864 2-cent shield. Nice little copper right here. It's a series that is very underrated by today's standards, considering that it is a incredibly obscure denomination. 2 cents, 3 cents, 20-cent pieces, they're all pretty out there as far as denomination is concerned. But this is a great coin to look out for various varieties. The one major one that really did good and wonders for this one is this repunch date that you see here. Now, way back in the day, mid 19th century, they used to punch the numbers individually into the working die. So that's why things like this exists, and only on the date. I mean, you could see it on the 1, the 8, the 6, and then a little bit on the 4 as well. But the 1 and 6 are the strongest two singular digits for the repunching of this one. So this is also FS 1302, another Cherry Picker's Guide attribution number, and this one sold for $58.35. Coming up next here is probably something that you might need to know about. It is a very, very minor error. This thing is very, very light, very minor, and a lot of people would generally overlook this. 1977D Eisenhower dollar with a just really shallow disc clip right there under the date. All right, so it's barely noticeable. If you're not looking at it or for it, you'll probably overlook it. It's a decent coin. It's got a few little nicks and all that stuff. It's far from perfect, but any sort of mint error on these big, larger denomination coins, whether it's like candy half dollars or Ike dollars or Susan B's, things like that, it will instantaneously elevate the value of these pieces. Now, this one right here, it's really quite minor. Again, I want to stress that. And because of that, it did sell for $16.50 with 5 bids. While at first glance doesn't seem like a crazy amount of money, you do have to take into consideration how dramatic the mint error is, and also the grade. The grade is just fine. I'm kind of like having a hard time on whether or not this is an about uncirculated coin, or if it's like a really low mint state, like say 61 example. I think a grading company will probably kind of like straddle that fence of, a generally really, lightly circulated coin to one that maybe was in a mint bag and just, got handled around a little bit rougher than some of the other pieces. But there you go, $16.50, better than a sharp stick in the eye for sure, as it did sell for quite a bit more over face. And this is one that you guys need to know about. More so, maybe it might not be as equitable to look for these minor mint errors on these, these older silver dollars, whether they're Morgans or Peace. 1922, it's the most common in the land. 22, 23, 24, and 25 are some of the most common dates of Peace dollars. And this one here is a very shallow rim clip right there above the B and Liberty. They actually, wrote in a little arrow right there for reference. And this is a coin, ladies and gents, that right now, based off of melt value, is right around $40. You have to figure that with the rising cost of silver, that's going to cannibalize any numismatic value on lower end varieties and errors, including things like this. Gone are the days that we could have relied on making about $10 in profit off of such mint errors like this. And we just have to look back to maybe a couple years ago as recently where you could have made that kind of money. But seeing as how these have such a higher kind of floor to them because of the amount of silver that's in the coins, it's really not doing a whole lot for the cause of like these type of little mint errors. This one, by the way, ended up selling for $45.74 with 14 bids. While it did sell for slightly above what kind of like the base melt is for such a coin, keep in mind there's no profit to be made here anymore. You have to pay eBay's fee, and then if you charge free shipping, there's also that too. So just be wary, just be careful. Sometimes you find something neat and yet quite minor, it may not be necessarily worth selling at all. And of course, some of the beneficiaries of the end of the Lincoln cent is these woodies, these wood grainers, improper alloy mix. 1940 Lincoln cent. There was actually a whole bunch of woodies that sold here in the last 24 to 36 hours. It's kind of mind-boggling. And, they're still selling. They're still doing okay. Now, 1940 is a relatively common date for woodies. This one, by the way, is selling for $10.95. They're still selling for over $10 a pop, ladies and gentlemen. Which is quite startling a little bit. Could these things go up even more? It could. As soon as they begin to kind of like dry up and things, because a lot of people are buying them, unless people are able to look for them because people are hoarding these. We're going to see maybe prices move a little bit higher here in the next 12 to 18 months. However much that is remains to be seen. Right at this point, we just have to figure that, go while the getting's good right now, before you don't have that opportunity. And I forgot that this variety even existed. But yeah, I should be looking for more of these. 1968S Proof Lincoln Memorial Set. It's actually not too bad of a date. This one's not as rare as it sounds, but as far as it being a proof 1968S. But it is a variety. This is a Cherry Picker's Guide FS 101 doubled die obverse on this proof Lincoln. And again, I forgot that this one even existed. The doubling is not like in your face, but you can see the separation in the date there, the 6 and 8. Liberty is looking really nice too. You can see the separation line vertically, and then also the notching on the top left of each letter there. And then you also see it's not as spectacular. Also some doubling in the motto "In God We Trust" on this one. So before you pack up your proof sets, make sure you pull out your 68S proof sets and just do the once over. This particular one single coin sold for $50, by the way, which is good, because that will pay for like 4 proof sets of 1968. Or it could buy so much more of some other stuff, maybe 90% silver, or it could buy you a Silver Eagle. I mean, that's a pretty good flip there on a set that will run you back generally $10 to $12 in today's market. Here is a paper money error that maybe you guys have never heard of or seen. It's a 1988 $8 bill. And you can see there on the right side of the front that some of the print is missing, but you have a nice hard edge there. This is an error called a board break. All right, if you haven't heard about it before, totally understandable. This is actually a very rare occurrence on here. And what a board break is, ladies and gentlemen, is actually it's a defection or damage on the impression cylinder. All right, the impression cylinder actually holds the sheet, and then that moves to make contact with the printing plates. And if there's a break in the impression cylinder, you pretty much have a void there, and it's not going to allow full print of that particular area or where that sheet is on the break of that impression cylinder to make contact securely with the printing plates and doing a full design transfer. So, yeah, kind of interesting, kind of neat. This is something that you don't see too many of, but at the same time, board break errors, they haven't been really completely 100% embraced among currency collectors. And that's probably more because that there aren't too many of these out there to even own. But yeah, this is a really interesting one here. And the seller didn't even specify board break. They just said insufficient inking, which in a way is correct, but the correct terminology is board break on this one. This one ended up selling, by the way, for $360. Okay, so the final price there is more of a testament to the scarcity of such a piece. And I like it. I like that one a lot. And here's one that I've seen a few times, but we've never talked about. 1996 Canadian Toonie. It's a $2 coin. And these, as you guys know, at least for the last few decades, have been made entirely of bimetal. So you have the nickel ring, and then you have the brass insert center. Now, there are certain cases where a defective planchet will have that brass center kind of like elongated, off-centered, something to that effect, and that's exactly what we have here. All right, usually that brass center is perfectly centered right in the confines of that little circular line that goes around Queen Elizabeth in relief. And this one is not quite as accurate, I guess you could say. So this one right here, quite a scarce error. This one was originally offered up at $555.51. A best offer was accepted, although I couldn't get that number for you because the website and program that I use is down right now. It's been down for quite a while, and I haven't been able to get any realized prices on the buy it now best offer listings. Okay, kind of an interesting coin, by the way. 1983p, another one. Good date, by the way, for a lot of like Cud die breaks. Here's another one here, right at the base of Jefferson's bust at the bottom there. Completely covering up the area where normally Felix Schleg's initials would normally sit. That is, quite honestly, a very weak spot on the dies, and that's why it breaks a lot in that area. This one is a very nice uncirculated example, too, which is a huge bonus. This one, by the way, selling for $32.15 with a quartet of bids. So again, the Cuds doing very well these days. Here's another one that we don't see too often. Big, huge, crazy off-center or broad strike errors on candy half dollars. Man, they are quite neat. I sold a few of these here recently on Whatnot, and there is something to say about off-center errors on big coins. They are quite phenomenal. This is a 1990p candy half dollar. It's off-center by about 25%. Very beautiful, very dramatic. This one, by the way, is selling for $230. What's also kind of wild is if you found this same error on a bicentennial candy half dollar, that will make that coin worth about $500 because it's a bicentennial. Just a little food for thought. You know, if you do come across a bicentennial candy half dollar that's way off center like this one. Here's another Canadian. We have a couple Canadians here this week. 2019 dime, straight out of a BU roll. And this one has some nice strike through there on the side with the schooner, the boat. And you can see up there where it says Canada, it goes into the sails a little bit. This one's selling for $40.11. And this is a seller in Canada, and their shipping prices are high because of like tariffs and things like that. So keep that in mind that this sale price also includes the shipping, however much that might be. Just a really nice, wild, earlier date, Jefferson Nickel off-center strike, 1976D, and it's also a very minty looking coin. This one, by the way, had sold for $65.16 with a total of 18 bids. I talk about these, not nearly as much these days because, the idea is these are not really searchable in any, roll of coin because of the elongated size, Plus, normally these things would get stuck into counting machines anyways. But this is a pretty cool day because it's a bicentennial year, 76D. And, nice price tag, $65 on that one. Boy, talk about rare. 1962D Lincoln Memorial Cent with a little cud right at the bottom there. I don't know if you guys see it. It's right around 7 o'clock. So it goes from the rim and it touches Lincoln's bust there. And even in this condition, this one is not one that is easily found. And people collect cuds by date. So they're looking for like date runs of these things. $53.50 is what this one sold for with 11 bids. So, keep that in mind. If you're a roll hunter, you come across some of these earlier dates from the 60s. Some of them are quite scarce. So keep that in mind as you price them out before you sell them. Another cud here, although not the Apmex cud, because that's also on a 1974D. This one is pretty close to where the other one is, and this one's covering partially Trust right there. And it's a good looking coin. It's actually held up pretty decently. It's got a few little trivial carbon spots on the reverse, but outside from that, nice cud die break. $24.47 was the sale with 3 bids. And the final coin of the week, we're going all full dramatic here. 1993 Philly Washington quarter, double struck. The secondary strike is about 80% off center. It's very nice, man. I love the way that these look. Excuse me. The eye appeal alone, based off of how dramatic it is what really got me. And it's really cool. I love these. Pretty pricey, as I thought they would be. This one, by the way, is selling for $231.50 with about 45 bids on there. So there was quite a hefty amount of people very interested in this one, and it ended up with a pretty nice realized price. Okay, that's going to go ahead and wrap her up for the weekend edition of the PCMR. Keep in mind, the info provided in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. And I am your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you guys so much again for all of your time, dedication, and your views, and all that great stuff. You guys are wonderful. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Quick little data point. About 83% of my viewers are not subscribed to me. That's just an insane statistic. So it kind of gives you an idea of, how the subscription thing is not working, to our benefit sometimes. But, you do subscribe, you get firsthand, kind of notification of when these do drop. And that might be important to you with this ever-evolving market. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. We got one more Whatnot show on Wednesday. Hope to see a few of you there. But if not, you guys have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I shall see you next time. Keep on collecting, my friends. And have a good one.